I've found that in business and in government, these are good words to live by. In New York City, we've not only used data to drive decisions, we've made it transparent so that the public will be able to see where the problems lie. And that's why, for example, we've begun grading all 1,500 of our public schools. The schools, not just the kids, so that the parents will know how their children's school compares to other schools. If their children go to a school that's failing, well, they should yell and scream to make things better, because if they don't, nothing is going to change. And that's exactly the point. Accurate, transparent, and continually collected data is also crucial to decide when and how to most efficiently use scarce resources and improve our society. And public safety is a good example. During 2007, New York City had fewer homicides than we have had at any year since 1963, cementing our hold on the title of America's safest big city. And we've done that by relentlessly mapping crime trends and deploying officers accordingly. And we've done that even as our police force has shrunk by some 5,000 officers over the past 6 years, and even as the police department has assumed extensive new intelligence and anti-terrorism responsibilities in the wake of 9/11. In American cities, just as in the global development community itself, many people will tell you that the solution to any problem is easy: more money. But in New York, we've learned that while more money is always nice, it also really is possible to do more with less. We can attack problems more effectively by rigorous analysis and a highly accountable approach, identifying the communities in greatest need, driving resources to them, and holding frontline workers responsible for their success. Such rigorous and accountable governance also allows us to direct funds that might otherwise be wasted to investments in the infrastructure that our growing city needs. And to cite just one example, we're now on course to complete a third water tunnel that is vital to New York City's future. It's a project that, if it isn't done, and if something happened to one of our existing 2 water tunnels, literally would close the city down. It's a project that has stopped repeatedly over 30 years, in large part because every time the economy slows, the easy way politically was to cut infrastructure spending while maintaining spending on popular programs. But the city is in danger. And so what we've tried to do is to not divert, even in tough times, resources away from what will give us a life down the road so that we can have more things currently. And I think that kind of approach that we have is the only ways to solve the problems long term. Through accountable governance, we've shown that it's possible to sustain and even improve basic services while also investing in the city's future. Finally, let me turn to the fourth value I want to stress: political independence. In reforming our schools, in reinventing our social services, in area after area, we've been willing to touch the so-called third rail issues that others have avoided. And the reason is quite simple. It's that the political independence of our administration has allowed us to take on vested interests and let the chips fall where they may. I've found that when you do this, the voters, even if they don't agree with you on everything, will respect you, because they know you're making decisions based on the merits, not on polls or partisanship or a political calculus. A good example of how we've been independent, and one with global implications, concerns the largest single cause of preventable death worldwide, and that's tobacco. Over the past 6 years, New York City has, as you know, been very proactive against smoking, often in the face of stiff and vocal opposition. We've raised cigarette taxes, mounted aggressive public information campaigns, increased smoking cessation programs, and outlawed smoking in all public places, including restaurants and bars. And I can just tell you, if you want a character-building experience, I suggest doing that and then marching in a St. Patrick's Day parade that goes past some of the city's pubs. You would actually be very surprised at how many one-fingered waves you get. I will say, though, today you cannot find virtually anybody who owns a bar, a restaurant, or works in one that doesn't think 2 things. 1, it was a great idea, and 2, it was their idea. But let me tell you, this is an area where political independence, a willingness to fight the vested interest, really has paid off. We've cut smoking among New Yorkers, among adults, by 20% during the past 6 years, and reduced teen smoking by 52%. And that translates into 250,000 fewer smokers, untold millions short and long term, and saved dollars in health costs, and even more importantly, saved lives. Now, we need to write the same kind of success story worldwide, and to do that, your help is needed in supporting the city and national leaders who are willing to show political independence in the face of the powerful vested interest promoting tobacco use. As you may know, developing countries already account for 70% of cigarette consumption, and tobacco companies are stepping up their marketing approaches in the developing world. As The Economist put it recently, the tobacco industry is getting the world's poor hooked before governments can respond. Unless we do respond, the result will be a public health calamity. 1 billion premature deaths from cancer, stroke, and heart disease in this century, many of them in the cities where you work. In response, you should know my foundation has supported a recent World Health Organization study of tobacco habits and policies in 179 different cities where you work. In response, you should know my foundation has supported a recent World Health Organization study of tobacco habits and policies in 179 different countries. If we want these countries to change their policies, we first have to know the scope of the problem. And that's just the first step in what's going to be a long struggle fought on many fronts. But as New York City has shown, this is a winnable fight, one that the world's other cities and nations now must also join. And again, I ask you and them to join me in this effort. Globalization, innovation, accountable governance, independent leadership. Each of you in your work in cities around the world has the opportunity to foster these values. The 21st century will see an increasing urban world on every continent in our globe. And now it's up to all of us to ensure that the residents of the world's cities enjoy a safer, healthier, and more secure future. Every generation, in its own way, faces the challenge of enlarging the realm of human happiness and opening up new vistas of human possibility. When we talk about building better cities in our world, that's truly what's at stake. We have the knowledge, we have the resources, and I believe together we have the will. And I do want to thank each of you in the World Bank Group for working to meet that challenge. So good luck to all of you. May your efforts here and in cities everywhere be crowned with success. The future really is in our hands. We can make an enormous difference. Thank you. Keep up the good work.